past doesn't disappear. It hides in your preferences, in your triggers, in the people you chase and the ones you push away. You were taught to forget the pain, to keep going, to numb it with achievement, validation, or spiritual performance. But what you avoid becomes your shadow. And the shadow doesn't just sit quietly, it acts. Without your permission. It chooses your lovers. It controls your reactions. It sabotages your peace, just to keep you safe from something you haven't faced. The past isn't dead. It's alive in the way you flinch at love, the way you over-explain when someone questions you, the way you stay silent when you want to scream. It's all still there, hiding, waiting to be felt. You don't need another motivational quote. You need a mirror, not the kind that shows your face, the kind that shows your fractures. This is where shadow work begins, not with fixing, with remembering, with naming the things you once buried just to survive. Because that's the truth no one tells you. Your shadow was born to protect you. When you were small and someone shamed you for crying, you learned to smile instead. When you were punished for expressing anger, you learned to swallow it whole. When being too much pushed people away, you shrank yourself just to belong. And piece by piece, your true self, the loud one, the creative one, the sensitive one, got locked away in the name of acceptance. Now you wonder why you feel numb, why love feels impossible, why you can't relax, even in safety. It's because the past is still echoing inside you. And shadow work isn't about silence, it's about learning to listen to the echoes. So, how do you begin? You start by noticing. Next time you're triggered, don't react. Observe. Ask, what memory does this feeling belong to? Who am I becoming in this moment? And who am I protecting? Then write, not to be poetic, write to remember. Write to the version of you who had to hide, the 8-year-old, the teenager who stopped trusting, the adult who pretended to be okay. Ask them what they still need, what they're still afraid of. And then listen as if your life depended on it, because in some ways, it does. Your nervous system isn't malfunctioning, it's remembering, and your fear isn't weakness, it's a map to your shadow. The goal of shadow work isn't to be perfect, it's to be whole. But wholeness requires truth, and truth often feels like grief. You will grieve who you could have been if someone had loved you better. You will grieve the years spent hiding, shrinking, overperforming. And it will hurt, but it will also unearth you. This is why most people stop, because feeling is harder than forgetting. But forgetting is the real trap, and because the body always remembers. The tightness in your chest, the shaking in your hands, the tension in your jaw when someone gets too close. These aren't flaws, they're messages, encoded signals from a self that still waits in the dark. Not to haunt you, but to be held. And when you finally sit with those feelings, the ones you avoided, repressed, and pushed away, something strange happens. You begin to reclaim your power, not in loud, dramatic ways, but in soft, subtle moments. You stop saying yes when you mean no. You speak your truth without apologizing for it. You stop needing to be loved in order to feel worthy. And the past, it stops haunting you, because you finally stopped running from it. The past doesn't haunt you because it's evil, it haunts you because it's unresolved. And unresolved pain doesn't fade, it repeats. That's why you keep attracting the same kinds of relationships. Why you freeze in situations where you know you should speak up. Why you self-sabotage just when things begin to feel good. It's not fate, it's a loop, an unconscious pattern born from an unhealed story. And the loop continues until you stop. Not to fight it, but to feel it. Shadow work asks one question again and again. What have I abandoned in order to survive? It might be your voice, your softness, your anger, your sense of wonder, or your ability to trust. Whatever it was, it didn't disappear. It was buried. And what's buried doesn't die. It waits. So how do you begin the process of integration, of becoming whole again? Start small. Start in the places that make you uncomfortable. The jealousy you pretend not to feel. The judgment that comes too quickly. The part of you that always has to be right. The part of you that breaks things before they get too good. Don't shame these parts. Observe them, because each shadow contains a truth and a gift. Your jealousy might point to a dream you've silenced. Your rage might be your boundaries trying to come back to life. Your numbness might be the final layer of protection from a wound you still don't feel safe enough to revisit. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the slow and painful transformation of becoming who you were always meant to be by reclaiming what you were told to hide. And here's the paradox. Your shadow is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It's the part of you that remembers what your conscious mind forgot. It holds the emotion beneath your overthinking. It carries the truth under all your pretending. And it will speak to you. In triggers, in dreams, in the people you can't stop thinking about, in the places you fear to go. But if you listen, not with your mind, but with your full self, something sacred happens. The fragments begin to return. The child who was silenced finds her voice. The boy who had to be strong learns how to cry. The version of you who had to leave comes home. This is the path of wholeness. Not control, not perfection, wholeness. But let me be honest, it's not always beautiful. Sometimes it's messy. You'll cry for reasons you don't understand. You'll question who you really are without the wounds you once called your personality. You'll feel like you're falling apart, and you are, but only the parts that were never truly you. And in that space between who you were and who you're becoming, you'll feel something you forgot was possible. Peace. Not the peace that comes from avoidance. The peace that comes from truth. From no longer lying to yourself. From finally facing the pain that shaped you. And choosing something different. That is shadow work. And no, it's not easy, but it is sacred. Because when you meet the parts of yourself you once disowned, something ancient awakens inside you. A knowing, a remembering, a soft voice that says, you were never broken, you were only buried. And slowly you start to rise, not as someone new, but as someone whole. Books to go deeper. If this video spoke to something inside you and you're ready to explore further, here are a few books that will guide you gently but deeply. Owning Your Own Shadow by Robert A. Johnson. Short, accessible, and beautifully Jungian. A perfect beginner's guide. Meeting the Shadow, edited by Connie Zweig and Jeremiah Abrams. A powerful collection of essays on all aspects of the shadow self. Romancing the Shadow by Connie Zweig. Explores how the shadow shows up in love, desire, and identity. The Shadow Effect by Debbie Ford. A blend of psychology and practical exercises for everyday integration. The Red Book by Carl Jung for advanced readers. A raw, visual descent into Jung's own shadow. Not easy, but unforgettable. The past isn't dead, it's hiding inside you. And maybe now, you're ready to face it. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering with love, feeling what once felt unbearable, and choosing to live, not in spite of the past, but with it integrated, honored, and finally, at peace. This is the work. This is the path. This is your return to self. Welcome home.